Hi everyone, this is a quick just catch-up video now that we're a week into the semester. I wanted to do a quick another instructional tutorial video to send out to you all to make sure that we were all on the same page. So what we're looking at here is my computer screen on a Windows 2007. This is Windows 7 machine. That's the operating system. Some of you are using Windows 10, some of you are using Mac OS X. They're all very similar layouts these days, but 2007 is still pretty common. This is an office computer. So you can see I'm running the browser Firefox. That's what this little picture is down here. I'm going to close out my work email there so that that won't pop up and interrupt us. But this is the basic Moodle and layout, what it would look like. And I'm going to switch my role once I go into our class so that it looks the same as it would be if I was a student. So here you have the student view. This is what you should be looking at. Now over here you have the latest news. I think I've gone over this a couple times with you all. So you need to be sure that you've been keeping up with the latest news, and I've been posting on here pretty much daily in the last week to deal with some of these issues of that might be confusing you right now. And again, I apologize for those. A lot of these things are out of our control. As you know, this class was a last-minute section that was added to the online role, so the textbooks, there was a bit of confusion there, I think, with the bookstore, but the composition and rhetoric guide and the this book here, the writer's resource, and there's, you know, the 4th and 5th edition. This one I believe is the 4th edition. The 5th edition looks a little different. These are the same books you have from 1301, and this is really all you need to get started. When you get the reader, when that comes in, that's really going to start affecting us next week. Okay, so that's the news and updates. Now, we also have live all the links here in the first module. So your first module is Introduction and Orientation. But before we get to that, I wanted to also point out the Q&A forum here. And you can see some of your peers have already posted questions on this. You can see them here in my responses. So if you have a general question throughout the semester, that you need answered, post it here and I will check here for questions. That's actually a lot better place to do that than through email, because there's a chance I won't see an email, in all honesty, since this isn't linked to my Outlook email. Alright, so Q&A, post for comments, and then after that you have the upcoming events, and you notice that the Grammar and Mechanics Skill Diagnostic quiz closes today at 4 p.m. So that needs to be completed, and I think the numbers on that have been pretty good. It probably won't show me the numbers actually since I'm here as a student, but you can see the numbers are pretty good. And 4 p.m. I think it's set so that you can take it a little late. If there is an issue and you still need another day or so on this, please let me know, and I will try to reopen it for you without hopefully creating any confusion. Again, as help for some of those issues going on here. And then you see that you have some due dates coming up. February 1st, you have to have that plagiarism policy that's already set up in your composition and rhetoric guide. You just need to either scan it and upload it, or take a JPEG of it using, you know, one of those phones and upload the JPEG. All that's pretty intuitive, so I don't see how there'd be that much trouble with it. But if you do have an issue with it, let me know and I'll post a tutorial. And then the email etiquette's the same thing. There's worksheets in the composition and rhetoric guide, the CRG. The library quiz says it closes on the 8th. Those due dates, like I said, there might be some flexibility on depending on how things are laid out. But for the time being, use those as tentative due dates. There's a bit of a confusion, as I posted in here on Note on Due Dates. There's completion dates when things need to be completed, and then Moodle also has due dates. I'm using the completion dates. That's the suggested completion in order to be working at the proper pace. I'm trying to match those up as much as possible with due dates, but because of the different types of software that's running on this, for some reason, there's sometimes some conflict, and that's where that one issue is coming from with that one discussion forum that we don't do until much later. So unless I say that something needs to be done immediately or there's an issue, usually if you're working in order and trying to do about a week to 2 weeks, at most 3 weeks per module, you should be okay. And of course that time for modules will expand as the semester progresses in a lot of instances. So you see here the introduction and orientation module. We already talked a bit about this, but I wanted to go over it again since it's been updated. You have here, I've posted some stuff about this as well, but you have the Moodle book here, the start here. I'm going to open that in a new tab so you can see it, and everything should be linked. You have the video, the original introduction video that I posted on this from last week. That's all still applies, but now the links are active. As you can see, the GMSA, which is linked here again, and anytime you see something in blue, you'll have the link and it'll tell you how you did on it. Like I just opened this to make sure it was working. And then if you want to go back, you can click the back button or use this to organize this to go through the book. Then you have the plagiarism and academic dishonesty, the video on that to watch and how to avoid it, and some background on this, some citation information, syllabus and plagiarism policy. As I said here, the departmental syllabus is actually in the CRG, the Composition and Rhetoric Guide, and that's also in the reading calendar, which is linked here. And you see, you click on this, and that opens the link for you, and you can download this and print it. And I believe I sent out a tutorial on that for those students who are having difficulty with that. Then you have this course-specific syllabus here, and you see that's in Microsoft Office format. It's a little bit of a different format. I'm running Office 13 on here. You might be running 16 or something older. So you can actually go in and look at this. And I give some specific details about online classes and responsibility, how this class is completely online, how I think of myself as a guide, and this is information I provided for you in my introduction, but I also provide it here, sharing grade information and evaluation information, the rules that are with me, privacy issues, if for some reason I'm unreachable, a link to the director of freshman and sophomore English, her email, so that you can get some help there, specific MLA citation for these textbooks that you have, and also the link to the bookstore. And if you see here, it says control click to follow link, so you can actually hold the control button down, and from the syllabus it should open it up. Now it's going to open it in Internet Explorer. This is a different browser, and I know some of you have had some issues with this. Sometimes Internet Explorer is wonky. I think if you go in and change your browser settings, it'll open it in Firefox and you won't have as much trouble. But McNeese websites for some reason don't always work very well in Explorer. I talk about the idea of attendance and how you should focus on the work, late work and missing work, how I grade, and how this grading structure is. Particularly important, I think, to you all would be this idea of the discussion forums and how they will be evaluated here. And I'm going to say this, it's going to sound kind of cold, but please take it as efficiency issue here, that I'm not going to debate the grades for the discussion forums with you, since they're pretty clear here that if I give you a post that requires citation, and I usually will tell you that, that's 5 points. Direct quotes or paraphrases of read-ins used to support posts or responses, that's 5 points. A response to previous discussion post by me or a peer, that's 5 points. And furthers the conversation, that's 5 points. And then each one is usually going to be worth, 5 points each. So there's some variety here on how to work that math. But for the most part, what I'm going to be looking for is that you're actually showing me that you're reading the things that I assign. That's very important to me. So the discussion forum is going to take the place of what a normal class discussion would be. In this semester, some of you may have taken online classes in the past with other instructors or myself. This semester I'm very serious about that. The discussion forum is very important here. And then of course I have that notion about being a guide again, that I don't really take any joy in causing frustration to my students. I try in every way possible to help you all. But, you know, we are dealing with an environment that by its very nature is impersonal, working online. And so communication is going to be key. So I want you both, I will focus on, and I would like you to also focus on positive and understanding and compassionate conversation and communication as we work through issues as they come up. And a lot of this is going to be you keeping track of the completion dates and working in the order, as I said, and reading through things. And when there's a question, posting the question to the Q&A. I'm going to be trying to check the class daily. I've been pretty good about it so far this semester. When I'm grading essays for this class and other classes, you're not my only class. You're one of a number of classes I'm teaching this semester, both face-to-face, dual credit, online, in a number of settings. You know, it might take me a little more time to answer your questions, and please just be patient with me as I'm patient with you. I'm usually a very fair instructor as far as extensions if needed. I really don't think we'll need to have any extensions for assignments here. And one of the big issues with an online class is once you start extending due dates for other assignments, then that means less time for the bigger assignments that come later. And since each assignment builds on one another, that creates some other problems. So you can see that the course syllabus is linked there. It's in Word. That's for you to access. Now, again, we can go back. You had the signed plagiarism policy that you need to do, and this is how you upload it. You click Add Submission, and then once you take whatever the document is, you would just drop it in here. So let's say I'm just going to open a JPEG that I have on my flash drive here. I'll put this in here. You just drag it in like that if your browser allows that. If your browser doesn't allow that, you can actually do this and set some things up and upload it. And it can be PDF or JPEG, as I said. Okay. You can also go back if you uploaded the wrong thing. You can edit, you can delete, you can hit cancel, and it won't keep it. There's some other options there for you. Okay, so that assignment needs to be done relatively quickly as well. And then you have the, you see here, the other linked, again, the reading calendar linked there again. And then I have the due dates, and that's linked as well for when these things need to be done. And you can check if things are done. It's set up so that when you're looking at the course, as you complete things, it'll check it for you. Some things won't check until you receive feedback from me. So the next thing is the email and forum etiquette. Again, the reading calendar's here. You have the upload link for this. It's the same setup as the plagiarism policy that appears in your course and rhetoric guide, composition and rhetoric guide, the green textbook. And then you have the discussion forum. Now, the discussion forum is something you need to start working on right away. This has 2 steps, and this is our first discussion. So the first thing is to introduce yourself and interest. Post one element from the assigned readings that you were confused by. Practice citing it appropriately. Use the MLA documentation style tab to help you with this. Now, what I'm getting at here is that in this reading assignment, for your first reading assignments, you have the email etiquette, the plagiarism policy. There's an active reading assignment chapter in the composition and rhetoric guide that I want you to read and think about and take notes on. And I want you to show me in this post that you have actually read it. So you need to quote from it, practicing using that introduce, punctuate, document element that's in that plagiarism video. You need to ask questions, use this as a place to discuss the content in the reading. The book that shows you how to do this is the same book you should have started using in 101. This is the 4th edition. You may have the 5th edition, but it's going to have a section dedicated to MLA. In the 4th edition, that's blue or green. looks like this. You can go in here. What you're going to be dealing with the composition and rhetoric guide is actually a citation referred to as, we're going to look it up here, a work in an anthology would actually be it. So for the works cited entry, a work in an anthology or textbook or chapter in an edited book. In the 4th edition, it's on page 301. A 5th edition may be a little different. So you would need to look that up and do the works cited entry. And then the in-text citation is actually described on page 297 of the 4th edition, listed as a work in an anthology as well. And they give you examples. And one of the things I'm testing for here is that you are working with this textbook, because when you are writing your essays, I'm not going to be there hovering over your shoulder to tell you how to do this. You're going to need to know how to do this. So you have to use the textbook. If you're using the textbook, you'll get it correct. It's actually not very difficult, but the key is that you're referring to it and working through it. Now again, if as you're working you have any questions about that process, you can post them here, since that's what this first discussion forum is a bit about. You know, this discussion is more focused on the reading itself, whereas the Q&A discussion that's on the front there is for general questions related to the class. So that's the first module, and like I said, you have, from here you have until about the 8th to start working on it. Once these things have been all checked off, then you can start working on the next unit, which is actually listed as Unit 1. And of course you see here on mine, because I'm the instructor, I can see it, it's kind of faded, but you have a book here and you have to complete the discussion form in order to access that book. So if you don't post in the discussion forum, you're not going to be able to move forward. I know that might create some problems for some of you that don't like to follow things step by step, but this is fair warning that if you don't do it step by step, this is going to be a problem, and I'm going to be forcing you as much as I can to follow the steps that I have set forward. So again, if you have any general questions about the class, post them in the Q&A. Questions and issues dealing with active reading and research, that assigned reading in the textbook, the composition and rhetoric guide, need to be posted here as part of your discussion. That's also accessible through the Moodle books. Use the Moodle books to follow things step by step. They're divided in chapters. Everything is explained quite thoroughly in here. So, I've tried to answer every question that I can as thoroughly as possible. Remember that composition classes are humanities courses, so this isn't something necessarily all the time where a multiple choice answer is going to be apparent. You're not going to have sometimes a clear answer right away. It just doesn't work that way. One of the important elements of working within the humanities and dealing with things like interpreting images, for example, is to be comfortable with uncertainty. So I hope this further instructional tutorial video helps you, and I look forward to continuing our conversations in text online in the Q&A forum, and I look forward to being your guide this semester.